This edition of the Fax.Koolaid podcast show is brought to you in part by Motion Pictures. Remember, the Fax.Koolaid podcast show is rated a special AE for any and everyone. View discretion is advised. Just kidding. I don't know how many times I got to reiterate that. Up in the whip, we riding. Right hand on your thigh while I'm driving.
Oh boy, good to be back. Bonjour to everybody watching. You already know what time it is. We're back with the Fax.Koolaid podcast show. This is episode 25, the return episode. Yes, let's just address everything. You feel me? I haven't dropped the episode in about a month and a half. You feel me? And I'm explaining all that in a minute why I was gone, because I was getting a whole bunch of DMs from people on social media platforms like, yo, when you dropping another episode? Why you ain't dropping? Is everything okay? Yeah, everything is perfect. Let me explain why. But this is episode 25 of the Fax.Koolaid podcast show. I appreciate all the people that's been looking out, that's been wondering what's been going on. Again, it's nothing bad. I decided to, at the beginning of September, no, actually it was at the end of August. Everybody who doesn't live under a rock knows who Cenat is. Cenat just had his last 30-day stream. He's one of the biggest streamers in the world. In my opinion, the biggest streamer in the world. He did this version where he streams for 30 straight days. Now, me, as y'all know, I'm a journalist, you feel me? Even though I'm working independently, which is what I feel like is best for me, but I'm a journalist. And I decided, okay, it's a very crazy idea, I ain't gonna lie. But I decided to cover all 30 days of his streams. Literally, I'm gonna watch every single day. Then at the end of each day, I'm gonna do a recap. I'm gonna post it on TikTok, and I posted some shorts on YouTube. So this is not brand news to some of y'all, but I decided to do that. Now the average person is gonna look at that and be like, "Kool-Aid, what the fuck?" Like, you feel me? Like, excuse my French, but you're seriously about to watch a stream for 30 straight days, 24-hour stream, and make a recap of each day? And the answer is yes, and I'm gonna explain why. Because it's actually gonna get into my first part of what I want to talk about. Yes, it was very uncomfortable, but here's the deal, right? Uncomfortability. Right now, especially after post-grad, to the point where now I truly have all the time to make my dream, aspirations, everything I want out of this life come true. The key thing to making that happen is uncomfortability, bro. I quite literally dedicated that whole month to that. That was the most important thing, making sure I'm watching that stream and make sure I'm able to come up with recaps at the end of each night. That takes dedication. It takes discipline. And boy, that was so uncomfortable. I'm talking about, bro, by day, literally on the first day, 5 hours in. And let me just make this clear. Obviously, there was other things that I was still able to do. Obviously, I didn't watch all 24 hours, all 30 days. Obviously, my brain would have been rotted. I probably would have died. But my thing is, I was able to watch a good enough amount every single day. The same person every single day. And I was able to come up with recaps and talk about it the whole time. It was uncomfortable, but I needed to experience a time of uncomfortability. And that's kind of the first point of what I kind of want to say to y'all today. Many of us are way too comfortable, bro. Let's just call it what it is. I characterize comfort as a slow demise. Comfort is a slow demise. It's how people stay in relationships that drain them, stay in jobs that they don't like, help people stay in habits that slowly destroy them. Comfort literally keeps the pain that you're experiencing in you. Because, and really hear me like when I actually say this, the idea of changing feels harder than the pain that they're already in. But the truth of the matter is, and this is how it is 100% of the time, nothing changes. Nothing changes until you get uncomfortable enough to take that first step. You have to do something about it. And the unfortunate fact of the matter is, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not changing. There is no progress if you're comfortable the entire time. Ask anybody who's I'm talking about exceptional at anything, whether it's an athlete that's in their professional league, whether it's somebody with exceptional grades, whether it's people who are successful in the gym, people who are great athletes, great singers, great everything. They had to all go through a time of uncomfortability. That uncomfortability is what taught them the things that they need to get them to the top. I'm telling you, bro, comfort will not get you there. It was literally times where I was doing this, right, where I was covering Kai's stream every day, where I would have to stay up late to get them extra notes of what's going on during the stream. I would have to wake up early to record the video because, again, I'm posting videos. I don't want to post videos for nobody to see them. If I post them too late into the next day, nobody's going to care. It was a very uncomfortable thing to do. It required a lot of discipline. And sometimes having consistent discipline, it pains you. Like, you really suffer the stress of discipline. But guess what, though? At the end of the day, I would rather suffer from the pain of discipline rather than deal with the pain of regret, bro. That's why we go so hard every day when it comes to being disciplined. Nobody ever said it was supposed to be easy. Matter of fact, it's going to be hard. And how hard it is can be stressful. But later down the line, when we're successful from it, when we don't have any regrets because we just went ahead and just toughed it out, that's going to be better than looking down the line saying, dang, I wish I would have liked them back then. It takes time of uncomfortability. But to not yap a lot, you feel me? Because I actually got to catch a flight as I'm recording. It literally is discipline. I'm literally about to go catch a flight right after this. But I had to record the episode. Yes, it makes everything a little bit more uncomfortable. But I'm doing what I got to do. That was why the FAXTORY has not released the episode in over a month. But we're back. And we're going to be coming back to you multiple times a week. And I'm going to get to that a little later on. But let's get into some of the topics. Now, this is going to be things that I hate. And I ain't going to lie to you, bro. Things that have been pissing me off in this month already and from the last month. And as y'all can see, I'm in my Naija attire, bro. And I'm doing that in honor of it just being October 1st, which is Nigerian Independence Day. It was our 65th anniversary. As y'all know, I'm Nigerian. My real name is Olakunle Awe. Straight Yoruba kid now. But look, though, I want to tackle this one issue. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know that this might be a tad controversial. The Nigerian perception, right? Just Africans in general, but Nigerians because I'm Nigerian. Let's just call it for what it is, right? Most of y'all ain't never had a Nigerian. For some, never had any African. Yet, y'all think y'all know about the experience. I'll be hearing all these crazy things, all these crazy stereotypes about Nigerians, and I ask, okay, so what's the premise of you saying this? I always ask, like, what makes what did you encounter that makes you say this? And they'll be like, no, it wasn't me. That's just what I be hearing. That's just what how do you know? A lot of the things that we as Nigerians get accused for, especially the men, are so ridiculous and not accurate at all. Starting with the whole, oh, y'all want multiple wives thing, bro. Let's just be so for real, bro. Even studies show this. Nigerian men having multiple wives, especially in America, the percentage is so microscopic, and y'all know that. It's so obvious. When was the last time you seen a Nigerian in Gen Z or a millennial have multiple wives? Nobody's doing that anymore. And then some of the accusations, I need y'all to really understand this, has nothing to do with nationality. It's individualized. Things that you can find with anybody. Case in point, right? One thing I always hear about Nigerians, oh, y'all think all because y'all got money that y'all can control y'all's women. And the first thing I always say is, okay, I'm glad that y'all know that we work for the bread that we get. But no, that has nothing. Let's say you do deal with somebody that's controlling. That has nothing to do with him being African or Nigerian. That's just him. I know many folks that's controlling and they not Nigerian. So now you want to tell me being controlling is only exclusive to Nigerian? Another case in point that's a little more obvious. I was talking to a girl. She said she hate Nigerians. I asked her why. She said because we always cheat. So me, of course, I'm like, okay, what's your premise behind this? What did you go through? She said he cheated on me, and that's why I will never give another Nigerian another chance ever in life. I don't care what happens. Now, I just start laughing, and I had to break down for her the hard facts. It was time for me to give her the real. I ain't gonna lie. I told Shorty, cheating has nothing to do with nationality. Cheating is not specific to a nationality, bro. That same experience that you got from him cheating, it wasn't because he was Nigerian. The dude you was dealing with was unloyal. Yes, that's bad. Be that as it may, but it has nothing to do with him being Nigerian. Unfortunately, you can get that same experience and treatment with Jake from Wyoming, J Money from ATL, or Servando from Brazil. It's not Nigerian exclusive. It's not exclusive to a nationality. Now, it might sound like I'm trying to dodge accountability, but I'm telling you, stop talking down on Nigerians if you've never had it. Because I guarantee you, for the most part, it's pretty good over here. I digress. Let's move on. Now, many people wanted me to speak on this, and I honestly hate speaking on it because, again, I've graduated, and I hate when I got to revert back to college HBCU topics. But let's just get into it because we know what season it is. It's homecoming season, right? Now, because homecoming season is approaching, here's my challenge to y'all. Here are the rules. It's only a few. I'm going to make it quick. Number one, don't see me. Don't see me. I mean, I hope I see everybody, but I hope nobody sees me, if you see what I'm trying to say. Because if you do end up seeing me, you probably didn't, even though you did. Are y'all catching my drift? If you see me, you probably did. Number two, right? All big back accusations don't count. Only for that week. That means if you see old girl with 3 plates from 3 different tents, 3 completely different sections of the tailgate, in her hand, only for that week, shall we let it slide. Still a little big backy, but it's understandable because it's homecoming. But you better be back in that gym that next Monday. Number 3. No deep conversations. Now, the substitute for deep is drunk. Not gonna lie. All these tailgates this year, I don't know if y'all peeped, are pretty much ending early. I'm talking about starting at 12, dang near ending at 3. I don't have time to see you ducked off in the corner having a conversation with your old situationship from 2 years ago or your current one. Now is not the time for that. Which honestly leads me to my 4th rule. You can't get mad at nothing. You should have locked that person down before homecoming came. Again, I know y'all remember that video I had about the 60-man rule. Your fine girl that you want it's probably going to be at least 60 dudes that talk to her. But even for the ladies, it's the same thing because the fellas out here getting fly. You can't get mad when you see him crowd around a whole bunch of girls and they talking to him. Y'all should have made that agreement and understanding way before homecoming started. That's not your girl. That's not your man. At least for that week. And on top of that, nobody got time for you to be pouting and pissed. Okay, it's homecoming. Good vibes only. Now, number 5. Don't get mad when I duck off for a side quest. Now, this happens to at least everybody low-key. It's going to get to a point at the tailgate or during the yard fest where I'm with the gang. Then they're going to turn around and they're going to see that I'm missing. It's because I've experienced a time of happiness, walking around, venturing off, finding God knows whatever has for me. God bless the side quest. And my last and final rule, low-key the most important one, be at church that next morning or you're not a real one. Because I know I will. It's going to be difficult. But again, remember what I said about uncomfortability, ladies and gentlemen. Uncomfortability teaches you things that you need to know. It don't matter how tore up you are from the night before. I don't intend on getting tore up, you feel me, good child. But I will be at church 6 a.m. that next day. Now, I'm going to NCAT. Now, I don't know if y'all are still homecoming touring. I know me, I'm going to NCAT. And I'm scared, not going to lie to you. I literally seen a post about, like, the traffic. Yo, NCAT be so deep. I don't know if I'm ready for this, but I'm going to be there, though. I know it's people coming in from all parts of the world, seemingly just for NCAT. And even though their tailgate is ending insanely early, really abysmal if you ask me, I'm still going to trust that it's going to be a time to be alive. I just need advice from people. So if you watching this and you go to NCAT, bro, give me advice I need, and I need tour guides, bro. I literally come in tomorrow. If you watching this Wednesday. So if you watching this after Wednesday, 9 times out of 10, I'm already at NCAT. Now, let's move on, right? Now, once again, let me make sure everything is still recording. Now, once again, this episode, we're covering things that I really hate. Things that are irritating me right now. And I ain't gonna lie. One of them is AI. Artificial intelligence, especially in the terms of old people. Now, AI is doing dangerous works on old folks. Like, we are in a catastrophe when it comes to AI and old people. Like, that's one of the reasons why my hope is dwindling. AI is becoming too believable for old people to still be on the internet just flangoing and whatnot. Like, old people are already known for believing all types of BS. So that by itself makes everything so much worse. A lot of my generation, even millennials, we all didn't fail for the AI. So just imagine. Like, even I didn't fail for a couple of them, and I'm a journalist, hell. So just imagine. So I just know AI is putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers on these old folks, bro. Literally, I'm not joking. I seen a post of Martin Luther King in the WWE. That's the World Wrestling Entertainment for those that don't know ball. Bro, when I tell you 3 old heads that I used to know from the barbershop that I was in growing up, probably in their 50s, sent me that video, flabbergasted. Like, yo, did you know? When did this ever happen? I'm like, yo, Unc, Gramps, this is not real. This is AI. Lock in. You don't think that if this happened that we would have known about this 30 years ago after he passed? Like, it's actually getting ridiculous. And then on top of that, AI is getting scary. It's getting weird, even for my generation. I'm going to be honest. If you ever in your life, and I guess this might be part 4 of IG problems or even TikTok problems. If you've ever used artificial intelligence to put you in a picture or video scenario with a celebrity, it's getting weird. Stop. It's getting weird. You know, there's this green phenomenon that God created billions of years ago. It's called grass. We have to touch it. Not gonna lie to you. We need to step outside, put the phones down, and get back to reality. Because why are we doing this? Yes, if you're AIing a picture of you and Chris Brown together, you're weird. There was once a trend where people was AIing themselves kissing their favorite celebrity. Yes, if you've done that, you're weird. And that might be a form of schizophrenia, by the way. I digress. That's allegedly. I feel like the only thing that AI isn't affecting as much is the younger generation. But they have their own problems, which I'm also get into. I'm not going to attack multiple generations and not talk about the last one. I genuinely can't imagine being a teen today. Like Gen Z and millennials and whatever is older than that. Let me talk to you right quick. You know, these little rascals don't have childhood shows that they've grown up on. Just the second they get their iPad, which I feel like is negative in and of itself. I digress. It's straight YouTubers, straight streamers, straight influencers, nothing else. Just straight internet. Like, and it's so sad because, bro, when I was growing up, I couldn't imagine not having Disney, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, all of that. But then you would still have, you feel me, your little sparkle of things that you weren't supposed to be watching at the time, like VH1, Wild 'N Out, 106 in Park After School was there. You got your sprinkle of your older things that you weren't really supposed to be watching, but you was still living off of reruns. You was still living off of the shows that you were supposed to watch, living off of the celebrities that was your age. A lot of girls talk about Mindless Behavior and Justin Bieber, all that. But these 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds today, bro, straight baddies, straight Love Island, straight influencers doing the craziest things, which to somebody my age is not really looked at as crazy, but it's like, yo, you are a early teen, bro. Like, that stage is missing, and I get it. The one thing that every kid thinks is that they're grown, but it's like, yo, these kids and these little ones are not supposed to be seeing all these things, not just yet. You're supposed to go through that phase where you only get your teen stuff that's for you. And if you're watching the older content, you feel me, you sneaking it. If you don't got full-blown access to it. But that stage is missing for this generation, and it's scary. Then they're not being disciplined correctly. That's why they're running all over their parents, because y'all refuse to whoop them. I'm not saying you whoop your kids, you feel me, not trying to have the digital footprint catch up to me. I'm seeing a whole lot of kids run over their parents. Then on top of all of that, and I feel like this is the worst thing, y'all not taking them to church. Like, really pray for this younger generation, bro, because they not doing it correctly, in my opinion. Then they're illiterate. Man, I could really have a whole episode about this, but I'm going to just leave it at that. If I need to continue talking about it, I really will. Not for this episode. Now, another thing that's irritating me is the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. And I'm not going to talk about the Charlie Kirk situation. All I know is I was 100% against that. I feel like if you celebrated his death, there's something wrong with you. You feel me? Whether you agree with him or not, something is wrong with you. But I'm not going to speak on that, bro. I want to speak about Ayesha Curry and that whole conversation. Now, Ayesha Curry is one of those people, and I'm only talking about her because she's been trending about some of the things that she's been saying about, you know, her wanting to basically be the superstar. And it feels like she's talking out of jealousy for Steph. Now, me as a journalist, I know that she's not doing that, but the internet is kind of misconstruing her words. And the thing about Ayesha Curry, right? People have this irrational irritation toward Ayesha Curry. It's to the point where anything she says or does will literally irritate them. Literally Jada Pinkett 2.0. And also, by the way, I just really want to say this because it just came to my mind. What day is it? It's October. It's October of 2025. This month, they would have just now got me into the cop car. They would have just now got probably just one of my arms, one of my hands off of Will Smith for doing that. They would have just now got maybe one of my arms off of Will Smith, bro. Will Smith smacked Chris Rock so hard. It's one of them things like, you ever had one of those memories that you see that you constantly just think about, bro? I think about that way more than the average human, because there's no way I still wouldn't be at the Oscars in that venue going ham on Will Smith. And Will Smith, I love you, bro. Real talk. You're kind of an inspiration. I've always been a Fresh Prince over Martin type of guy. And I know many people will hate that I just said that, but that's just me though. But my goodness, man, to this day, I would still be going ballistic on you, bro. I would still have you in the Sharpshooter. I would still have you in the Walls of Jericho. I would still have you in the Anaconda Vice Wheel. I would have pedigreed you, bro. I would have rock bottomed you. I would have did everything to you. To this day, it would have took that whole building again to this day to get me off. And I seen a creator speak on this on TikTok. Shout out you, but it's like you keep reminding me, bro. To this day, they would have just now gotten one of my hands off you, bro. Mind you, I don't know how many years it's been. I just know it would have took the most destructive, strongest force to get me off you. And I don't even know if that would have been enough. I digress. Let me get back to what I was talking about beforehand. If you don't know what Ayesha Curry has been doing, please pause the video and go to TikTok and just type in her name. The first headlines will be her. Now, my thing about Ayesha Curry, man, you got to understand the internet. You know you have... rather, I should say, tumultuous digital footprint when it comes to things that you said concerning your husband, Stephen Curry. I.e., when you said the NBA Finals was rigged, when you said you're insecure because random men don't throw themselves at you like how girls do Steph, even though you're married, you mentioning Steph's love for your feet pics, etc., etc. You got to understand that people have already been irritated by the things that you said before. So now when you get on a podcast, and that's kind of my second point now, when you get on a podcast and say these type of things without 100% clarity, because many people don't have the ability to understand what you're saying. I understood what you're saying, but these millions of people did. I understand what you're saying. It's probably other people that understand what you're saying, but the vast majority, the millions, the masses, are committed to misunderstanding you. And then you also got to understand where you're at. The Call Her Daddy podcast, which is the podcast that she was on. A podcast that, respectfully, from one podcast to another, the conversations may be entertaining, but some are very unique, for lack of better words. So it already looks worse. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can literally type it up and you'll see the videos that's there. You'll see what I mean when I say that. I don't want to be disrespectful to that young lady's podcast. But the point of what I'm saying is, so it already looks worse because of the platform that you're at. So people already want to misunderstand you. And it's just a common principle. Some things should be kept from the media. AYESHA has accidentally opened up millions of doors for people to misunderstand her, troll her husband, and her kids, and just everybody around her, because she decided to have conversations that honestly, even though she's expressing how she felt, didn't really have to go to the media. When you say things such as, you didn't want to have kids in the first place, you thought you were going to be the star because that's what you've always wanted, then you got married early, and your life really wasn't what you thought it was going to be, and you're married to Wardell Stephen Curry III, one of the greatest athletes, one of the most inspirational and richest athletes ever. Even though some intelligent people know what you're saying, you know people are going to twist and turn your words. Now people feel like she's ungrateful. People feel like she doesn't deserve Steph. People feel like she's literally just being like everything but genuine. And there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself, but understand that it comes with consequence sometimes. I think that conversation was more so for like a therapist or something. But to say on a podcast in front of millions of people, now she's being hated in the limelight. So that's the lesson for all y'all. Yes, the First Amendment is there. Always express how you feel, but all because it's there doesn't mean you should take advantage of it all the time. Again, everything that AYESHA was saying, I actually understood it, and I feel like the hate she's getting it's unnecessary. But it's like, that's what comes with the First Amendment. You say these things, and you're not allowed to dictate how the internet takes it. And before I get, and this will really be my last serious topic, but this is off the dome. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, I can't begin to fathom how much we need to be watching what we put on the internet. What I've noticed is TikTok is the hub for people putting things that they would otherwise never post on any other platform on there. And the confidence comes from the validation that they get from it. And because it's random. You posting it, and it's not going to people that know you in real life. It's going to random people. But when y'all post these things, I guarantee you, people see it, bro. All these challenges. The baby boot challenge is the one that's trending overall. And to the average male eye, yeah, it looks nice, but might be potentially posting yourself out of future relationships, bro. Like, it's easy to tell whenever you're posting something for validation. Whether it's from other women, males too, because males are guilty of this too, bro. Posting things just for attention and notifications. And it's easy to say, oh, I'm just posting it because I want to, I like it. Yo, it's 2025, yo. People are reading through that. But on Instagram, it'd be worse. And this might be another Instagram problem. I didn't intend on really speaking on it, but let's just call it out. I remember I seen this girl. She was very, very attractive. You know me, I give people the benefit of the doubt, but this one was just unbearable. I followed her, you feel me? Upon following, she put me in the close friends. You know, I ain't gonna complain about that. I get to the close friends. This lady, this woman starts posting the most future level toxic, like top tier toxicity post in her close friends. And on the public story, nothing but validation seeking type post. Now, how do you expect me to want to accurately pursue you, view you as the prize, even though you're the woman, all women are prizes, but you know, the prize seems a little watered down. How do you expect me to view you the way that you see your own self and you posting stuff like that? Folks love talking about the program. Everything that we see, we're looking at that as part of your program. So your program includes your program includes posting things for male validation. Is that what I'm saying? Because if that's your program, I'm not abiding by that. You can tell when somebody's posting something simply because they like it, you feel me, just for the aesthetic. And on the other hand, you can tell when somebody's just doing it for attention. Is that a program that somebody wants to be a part of? Bro? I think one thing about this program that people never talk about is the fact that, yeah, you know what your program is, but what you put on social media is our outlook of your program. And some of y'all's programs don't be worth it. I'm gonna just keep it a band. Absolutely not. Then it'd be way worse. Whenever you start talking. One of my favorite questions upon meeting somebody, you feel me? I love asking people like, what do they do? You feel me? And I like to ask it before I answer because, you know, not to pat myself on the back, but it's a lot of things to add to the resume. Besides the fact of the social media, following the podcast that I'm building, I'm an actual journalist. I have an actual publication that I write for. A few, actually. Radio personality coming in the future. Religiously going to the gym. Professional musician. Trying to become a professional skater in the future. Being an actor. All of that. That's a part of it. But when I ask you, and you're not telling me anything that's really interesting, how can you expect me to abide by your program when I ask you, what do you do for a living? And you telling me you just be chilling. I'm like, okay, what's chilling? Oh, I just be in the house all day. I don't really do anything. I don't really got any special talents. And don't get me wrong. I don't judge you for not having anything to do. Ironically. Yeah, you not having any ambition is a bit of a red flag. But I don't judge. But the problem comes when you start talking about, oh, my program. Don't come here thinking that you bigger than the program. If you're not trying to abide by my program, then it's not going to work. He can't have me. If I was to write an essay about what your program looks like, you wouldn't like it. It's just a point of what I wanted to just make to everybody. If you're gonna have a strict program, then you got to have something going for yourself to make somebody want to abide by that program. And I think we can all respect that, because I'd be danged if I got to abide by somebody's program and that person's not even interesting. It don't matter how fun you are. And that's the crazy thing. The older you get, the more you realize it's not about looks. Matter of fact, the older you get, the less about looks it becomes. And that's the scary part. Like, please, can you enlighten me in a joke? Maybe a riddle? Like, if you don't got no hobbies, if your life is not interesting, can you at least make me laugh? Then you feel like cooking is outdated because, we're not living in old traditions. Can you at least riddle me a joke? What are the interesting facts about you? And then also, you have to be educated. And this is something that I've been talking about on my backup TikTok account, which I don't want to disclose to a lot of people for, digital footprint reasons. If you've already seen it, then, again, I don't like to cuss, but it's a few cuss words on there. But I mentioned dating inside your education range. That matters. Your program is automatically invalid if the education ranges are not the same. Again, I mentioned can't use words like behoove. Can't use phrases like be that as it may. Can't say things like hypothetically speaking, theoretically speaking. You not telling the difference between there, and there, where, and where. We're not going to work. The education brackets seriously do matter is basically what I'm saying. Because, bro, it's like on the surface, like you can't even understand my messages. We having a very great conversation, and I'm saying things, and half of what I'm saying you're not understanding. That's an issue. And again, it's only an issue if you're cocky about who can have you and who can't. If you feel like the bar is high, then the bar got to be high for yourself as well. But that's it on that. Let me not even grind too many people's gears, to be honest with you. Now, before I head out, I got to give a shout out to a very special somebody. And I have met this somebody before. You feel me? I might tell that story another day. But this week, depending on when you're watching this, is the 6-year anniversary of arguably one of the greatest pure albums to ever come out, if we just be honest. Summer Walker's Over album. Now, I don't think y'all truly understand, like, yes, I'm a guy, but I listen to everything, you feel me? Real R&B is cool, I always prefer gospel over everything, but I'm appreciative of good music. This album, like, you really just have to be there. And you may not remember it. So you may not remember, but some people know. You got Girls Need Love featuring Drake. Come Through featuring Usher. You got Potential, Stretch You Out, Playing Games with Bryson Tiller. Like, Body, even though I don't like the name, I'll Kill You with Cenat. Mind you, that's only 1/3 of that album, bro. Half of that whole album went platinum. Practically that whole album, no skips, and practically all the songs went platinum. Like, that John came out when I was a senior in high school. Bro. And it was a few things I realized when the album came out, because I didn't know what a Summer Walker was. And a lot of dudes can really attest to that as well. That was when I realized London on the Tracks was that guy, and as a musician, I appreciate London, bro. He might be a cheater, but I appreciate him. And then Summer Walker, she might have the shyness of a third grader that's in a new school on the first day. No lie. But she got hits for my generation, bro. And I think the craziest part, and this is actually pretty insane, no pun intended, I like the following album low-key just as much as this one. And whenever she decides to drop another one, if it's just as good as Over It and Still Over It, it's gonna be time to have some very serious conversations. I ain't gonna lie, very uncomfortable conversations about where Summer Walker ranks in the history of R&B artists. Like, it's gonna be time to start putting her in that tier with the greatest of all time. But as far as this episode goes, episode 25, bro, we gonna call it a wrap on this one, because again, I gotta head to North Carolina to do a couple things. I'm gonna be on a few pods, a few radio shows, bro. And again, to everybody that is always reaching out and supporting, you feel me, whether it's through messaging, DMs, through likes, through comments, it's all appreciated and it's all seen. Let me also say that I'm never to the point where I can't see anything. Yes, I have social media people that help me with my work, but I see everything. If I don't see it directly, I'm told about it. And people that have sent it and that I responded to and they've been shocked that I responded, they understand, you feel me? But things that are coming on in the future, expect streaming to start. Again, part of me covering Casa next 30-day Mafia-thon, part of me covering his Mafia-thon for 30 straight days, I am finna get into streaming really, really, really soon. And I ain't gonna lie, not to spoil things, but you might see me collab with a very big streamer in the future. You feel me? Remember that I did say that. It's very happy to be back. Expect new episodes twice a week, hopefully. You feel me? By God's grace. It's uncomfortable, but we gotta do it, bro. Fax.Koolaid, I don't make the rules.
Imagine seeing